Always fun, crazy. It's painful, but it's wonderful. What is the name?
It's Royce Unchained.
What's on your mind on this Monday, Patrick?
Well, I guess the bus, one goal. Were you over there last night? What the heck was it? Did we play a very conservative style, or what was going on?
It was among the most boring hockey games I have seen. It was yes, they did win. They got the shutout, but it was boring.
Now, I got a question for you. 2 years ago, Boston had one of the best teams ever,
Hmm.
had all these points, and then got upset in the conference final, was it? Or how far along did they, or even before that, they
Might
got
have been the
upset,
second
right?
round, but yeah, you're
Yeah, they got
approximate.
upset. What has happened? Why do they stink? I
Injuries,
mean, they're not going to
age,
make the playoffs, right? They
yeah,
kept everybody a year too long or something, the Marchand and these guys, or
yeah,
what?
and now in the game on Sunday, Marchand was out, McAvoy was out. They fired their coach Montgomery like a
Yes.
month in, right?
Yeah,
And then
and
he
he
got the
got a
Blues
job.
job.
He
The
got a
Blues
job
job,
5 days later, right?
if that.
Yeah, it was 4 or 5 days later, which was slow to be rehired by NHL standards.
The
But
Blues fired their coach, took one look and said, "We're firing you, and we're going to go hire Jim
we're
Montgomery."
gonna, yes, that's true. It'll never be. Nobody will ever beat Boudreaux, though. He got fired by Washington in the morning at 10 a.m. and he was the coach of the Anaheim Ducks at 3 on the
Yep.
plane. Right, he was at 3 in the afternoon. He was flying to Orange County to become the coach of the. Is Boone still doing TV? I haven't seen
Yeah,
him much. He's still, yeah.
he is.
He's a great talker. I just don't know how much insight which one of the many panel shows is he on?
Uh the one that I see him on is the an NHL Network and radio on their Sirius satellite channel. I don't think he's on a national like he's not a TNT guy, and I don't. He might be on a national show up in Canada.
Hmm.
That's possible, like TSN or Sportsnet or something.
Well, they would have to really hit the skids to avoid the playoffs. I think they're 10 points clear now, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
the Wild.
something
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
9 points clear. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I looked at it the other day before last night's win, and I thought they were 8 or 9 or something
And they
like
got
that.
Gus Nyquist on Saturday. Played on Sunday.
Do you like him? He had some goals for him in the playoffs a
Yeah.
couple years ago, right? And they Nashville gave him a bunch of money, huh?
Well,
To
and the
leave
Wild couldn't
here.
afford him at the time. He had a great year with the Predators last season, but the Predators this year are awful. And I think
How'd
he had
that
9 goals.
how'd that happen? What happened there? They
They signed
just
up. They signed a bunch of guys. They signed Stamkos, and they traded for Brady Shea,
oh
and they
man.
thought that they were going to be great. Uh, I think our guy Bruno is probably out after the season, though.
Yeah. Oh, that's where Brunette ended up. Huh? How
Hmm.
many different places has he been a head coach now? Just two or
Two
more? Just two.
Panthers, and then this.
Panthers in there. Okay. He didn't win the cup with the Panthers, did he?
No,
No, he wasn't the
no,
coach that won the
no.
cup. So, all right, that's our hockey
That's our
review for
hockey
the
update.
day. The unpredictable ant, after sitting out a game, comes out and gets 44 last night. They were down early, right?
Yes.
The Phoenix was making shots. I saw Bradley Beal throw in a three, and they were. It looked like one of these no shows, and then all of a sudden they just blew their doors off. I still had the feeling with when it was 12 with 7 8 minutes to go that they might blow it. So I texted out this will be a bad loss, but then I think they got the next 7 or 8 points. So that's they are as unpredictable as it gets. But now you can't. Okay, Utah has to be your last loss to a mutt, right? I mean, the Utah loss was terrible because Utah wanted to lose. How do
Yes.
you how do you get beat by a team that wants to lose? I don't know. It's a mysterious year. Although I think the NBA is kind of fun this year because there's more bad teams popping up, and all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard and the Celtics are getting beat by 15 by the Wizards or something like that. I think they came back and won that one, but the Wizards had them beat like by 20 points in the third quarter a couple of days ago, a few days ago. So it's a little more unpredictable than it has been, which I approve of.
Yeah, it's really changed because to your point, the playoffs in the NBA used to be the most predictable thing there
Oh
was,
yes,
right?
yes,
Like it was almost always chalk, and now at least there's room for an upset, which is a lot more fun.
yeah, it is. And I keep bringing this up, but the favorites to play in the NBA Finals are Cleveland and Oklahoma City. Not
Yeah.
exactly the glamorous spots that the NBA would like to feature, but that's a good sign for the league that markets that size aren't being closed out like they used to. I mean, back in the day, if a star was going to leave someplace, he was going to L.A., right? That's and
Yep.
LeBron, of course, ended up out there eventually, but Kareem, Milwaukee might have been set up for a dynasty. He left after 4 years and went to the Lakers because he wasn't culturally satisfied in Milwaukee. Remember that?
Explain Cleveland.
I where
Like
did
where
I
they come from?
they had some young talent, but my God, they all matured at the same time. They got Donovan Mitchell. That made a hell of a difference. That was a freebie from Utah, right?
Yeah,
They got him from
they got
Utah,
him in Utah. You're right.
and he's been great. But I don't know. They're deep, and they just go out and beat the hell out of teams, and they're gonna have the best record in the league. They're gonna, they're. Oh, I think they only have 10 losses, right? 10, maybe 11,
That's
something like that.
remarkable.
Yeah, because Oklahoma City's lost a couple here and there, and these guys are. I'm not sure what they are, but last time I looked, they'd lost 10 or something
Whew.
like that. It's yeah, it is hard to explain. And but my favorite tweet of last week, however, in the Gopher concern about the Gopher basketball, men's basketball, was someone suggesting they should bring back JB. They should hire JB Bickerstaff. Let's see now. JB is coaching Detroit. JB might be the coach of the year in the NBA. He's for what he's done with Detroit. Oh man, I think I'll come back to the U, my alma mater, and inherit that
Oh,
situation. There's no fan group more willing. Now it's a small group now. It used to go for fan base. Hell, there was
right.
years when it was the second biggest thing in town behind the Vikings.
Yes.
But there's no group. I mean, they're old and they're senile, and but there's no group that still thinks this is some sleeping giant just ready to be unleashed, and that it's a coveted job. And I mean, it's a small group now that thinks that, but they're still out there. They still think that, oh man, there's a magic in the race. If we build a new arena, it's got to have a raised floor. That's my favorite. So anyway, it's I don't know. It's I got a good chuckle out of that one. That JB Bickerstaff
Bickerstaff.
will leave the NBA where he's probably making 6 million and he's got a good team, and he's been in the NBA now for 20
How
years.
quick would he hang up the phone?
Yes, right, right. Yeah, I'm Mark Coyle. Bang.
Bang.
No, thank you.
Do you want
No,
a
thank you.
donation? Because I'll give.
Yeah, yeah,
I might
right.
give you a
Yeah,
donation.
I can give you 10 grand. Is that
Yeah.
okay? Okay.
Oh God.
They got this this kid that won the game for him the other day. Rigsby, is it Rigsby? Brendan, whatever he is.
Brennan Rigsby,
Brennan.
right?
People are wondering why he doesn't play more. Well, because half the time he's out there for 9 minutes and gets zero. He just
Right.
every once in a while he's had like two good games, but that was going to be the worst loss yet, right? They had a 18-point lead or something like that, and
Yeah.
they were
Nebraska's
going to.
not that
And
good.
Nebraska's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, they fired Tim Miles to pay Freddie Hoiberg twice as much money, and now he's been the same as Tim Miles. Tim Miles had a good team or
And they've
two, and
got
then got
facilities,
bad.
Pat.
Oh
like
God,
they
yes.
spend.
New arena downtown, and they got spent. Yeah, they just Freddie, of course, was the first reigning champion of the transfer portal before there was a portal at Iowa State. They were, he turned that around with nothing but transfers,
Yep.
and then Nebraska figured he was the solution, and it seemed like a good hire at the time, but they're terrible. You look back at at Big Ten expansion, and we're talking about 13 women's basketball teams going to the tournament and blah blah blah. What is I mean, until this time when you got UCLA and Southern Cal, and the first four teams that they got
Mm-hmm.
were Nebraska,
Mm-hmm.
ugh, Penn State, ugh, Rutgers, ugh, and Maryland has had some fair basketball teams, but
Yep.
it certainly didn't do any. The first expansion did nothing for men's basketball. That's for sure. The first four teams that they brought in.
But all those people in New York starving for Rutgers
That's
basketball to
right.
give
That's
to
right.
give the Big Ten a presence in New York with Rutgers basketball.
I was suggesting when I was out there in November. We were out there for Thanksgiving about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was suggesting that people were stopping on me on the street. I just heard overheard all these conversations about how do you think Rutgers is going to do in basketball? You you're standing at the Macy's parade, and all you see is Rutgers basketball T-shirts. It's
What was the story you told me when Chip went there to cover the football game and got into a cab and said, I want to go to the Rutgers campus, and the
yeah.
cabbie was like, "Where's that?"
Where's that? Yeah, right. Nobody knew where it was, and I think he was already in Newark too, or something.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what
right.
Newark.
He was like on that side.
Yeah, man alive. But
No, you're right.
hey, it got us on. Supposedly got the Big Ten on the cable outlets out there. I don't know.
Right. That's what. Yeah.
How's cable doing in the big eastern cities? Is it still doing okay or not?
I have no idea. My guess is it's like the rest of the country, and people, from the age of 20 to 35 are all going to
Yeah.
streaming services or something else.
If not, older now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the demographics probably 50 and over by now. Are you still
Yeah.
cable? Are you still
I'm
cable?
still cable. I'm still cable.
Really?
Pay entirely too much, but yes, I'm still cable.
Yes. Well, but I got news for you. We all pay entirely too
Yeah.
much now.
But now I've got Twins TV as well for streaming purposes.
Now is that showing up?
Yeah.
Or you got to order it, right?
Yes, you have to. It's 99.99 or 99.95 for the
And
season.
you find it. You just look for the app. Is that what you do?
I don't have it on my TV yet, so I've
Mhm.
been watching spring training games through it on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first spring training game that Twins TV is going to produce with Provis and Morneau, I think, is the 15th of March.
Yeah.
So
I
it's just
got
been other
I've
telecasts.
seen a couple of their exhibition games with Pittsburgh on the Pittsburgh telecast,
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
and they most of these markets are cheap with their spring training broadcast telecast, right? So if they're interviewing somebody, if they're having everybody's got the young gal who interviews them
Yep.
and asks obtuse questions just like young men would, but when they go to the interview, they don't have the technology to also show you the game. So they're showing you the interview, and they can 3, 4 batters. You
I
don't know what happened. Why?
I don't
Why am I
understand
watching?
it.
I mean, I'm not laser focused on a
Right.
game, but I'd a hell of a lot rather see a game than some interview in which
Well,
nobody ever says anything. It's just TV showing that they can have access. It does no good. It's like interviewing people in the dugout during games. If I'm a manager and they tell me I got to do an interview, I tell them to take a bleeping hike.
and
You know?
the Pittsburgh thing though is really weird, Pat, because they peel off to the sideline reporter and the player that she's talking to, and they're under like a canopy. You don't need to
Yes.
see them.
somewhere over some dang
I don't
place,
know
and
where, like it's a side field or something, but they're like
yes,
showing them like I care
and
what they look
then
like.
every once in a while you hear a murmur from the crowd or a crack of the bat, but you don't have any idea what the hell's going on. I
No, you're
don't
right.
know. I don't know. I think
Hopefully, Twins TV
I
will
think
not be doing that.
I think it's like Audra, that I want more. They get enough influence. The interviewer, the on-field person, they want more time. So we get Audra telling us what's analyzing it in the fifth inning instead of just doing interviews, right? Because
I guess, but as long as you're
Audra did
showing
some.
the game, like just show me
Yeah.
the game. I don't care who I'm listening to.
No, I
I
don't
just want to
either. Yeah.
see the game, and you're
Yes.
showing me this gal with a player under a tarp.
Yes. That's yeah. That's I was. Was it? Were they playing Pittsburgh again? Yeah. No, I guess I was watching a Pittsburgh game yesterday, a different one, and the same thing was
Yeah.
happening. Whoever they were playing.
Yeah, yesterday was Tampa. The Twins were playing Tampa. They tied in Fort Myers. It was
Okay.
Minnesota Day.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
love that one.
Well, that
Minnesota Day.
used to be a pretty good gathering. A lot of drinking out
Yep.
there, and a lot. I don't know if it still is like it is, but that you used to see, people who lived down there would show up for that one. But I don't think they have anything to do for them anymore. Do you? What do you? What's your view of spring training, even compared to 10 years ago, as far as the interest in baseball? I think it's baseball in general, but spring training is like, nope, it used to, maybe because I was always down there, I was interested, but it just seems nobody cares. It's just because nobody plays. You never, hey, wait till you see this guy. The big conversation piece this year is the guy who throws the hard knuckleball. And it's I it's and one thing that kills them too is it starts so early. February, people aren't down there yet, so you watch a game and there's a lot less people in the stands, and
Yep.
then they go home and they miss the last week of March, which used to be spring break with all the. You want drunk college students at your spring training games, and
Right.
you're leaving Florida before they get down there to get drunk, right?
Don't you think the apathy towards the Twins, though, like to me, I don't know about I don't know about spring training as a whole, but it just feels to me like there's just a general, and I'm not surprised by it, apathy towards the team. It just doesn't feel like there's any buzz at all about
No.
the season starting.
And I think it goes beyond the fact that, well, the poll ads are cheap, blah, 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 the whole angle. Those people are, you know, 80% of those people saying, let's boycott, didn't go to ball games anyway, but that's okay. They never were there. They've already boycotted because they're too damn cheap to go to a game. But
Right.
yeah, I think it's half people are upset with the Twins, and half they just don't care about baseball anymore. I mean, the game is in big trouble. It's now. Uh,
Yes.
I thought they could after this season that they could walk away and say we want to redo the contract, but somebody told me it's after next season, so
Yeah.
they're stuck with this for 2 more years. So
It's
after
yeah,
26, huh?
it's 26. Yeah.
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 As we've had a lot of fun through the years making fun of baseball commissioners. Bowie was the guy way back sitting out in the rain, right, during the World Series game when they wouldn't stop it, and they've had some buffoons in there, but this guy, I had hope for this guy because he'd actually negotiated a couple things, but he's brutal. He lets the Dodgers get away with that Otani thing. Just call him up and say no. It counts. We're prorating the
Right.
salary and the number of years the contract is, and you're paying
Right.
20 million a year, another 20 million a year into the split money thing, and he lets them get a, doesn't want to make him sue you for God's sakes. You got
But he
you
works
got
for him.
yeah you got
You know.
antitrust, you got trust, still got the antitrust exemption, so just
Yeah.
do what you want to do. I don't know.
It's
It's weird.
remarkable. It's
Yes, it is.
remarkable. Did see a story last week. So ESPN divorcing itself from baseball after 25.
Yes.
Every team currently gets $18 million per season from that
Okay.
contract. That's gone
Yes.
now. Now
Yes.
they'll replace it. They'll get a deal, but I guarantee you they ain't getting the same deal that they
Well,
were. So
plus you're
so
off.
the money.
ESPN is still daddy, even it's not
Yeah.
what it used to be. But for the baseball crowd,
Yes.
going to Apple and Amazon and all those places is not good because we're old. We want to know where to look, right?
Yep.
We don't want to come on and it's like me trying to find Gopher basketball when it's not on Big Ten and it's not on there, and I'm saying, okay, where are they hiding it? And it's
Peacock.
Peacock.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to remember Peacock? And
Well, and
how am
then
I?
yep.
Plus, my downstairs TV where I watch sports doesn't have Peacock. And I got to go up and negotiate with the wife to go downstairs to watch what she wants to so I can watch Peacock upstairs.
I got the same
So,
problem. I got the same problem. And the thing I continue to pound the drum on is when you've got to go to a streaming app to watch a game, you cannot
yes.
channel flip,
Yes, that's bad.
which is
Yes.
a huge problem
Oh,
personally.
God, yes. Yeah. I mean, if you're on, well, I got YouTube, right? Uh, if your YouTube TV, although supposedly them and CBS are having a falling out or something,
Yeah,
and
supposedly they were going to be yanked off. CBS was going to be
that's
yanked off.
incredible. That's incredible. But when you
Yep.
YouTube, you can go and hit something. You get 4 games at once,
Yeah.
and then you can make your choice, right? Then you go back to the other one, and yeah, it is a it's going to be a mess when they ESPN lets them go. But when that John Skipper became the head, and turned out he's a big soccer guy. That was a good sign.
But you're right.
Speaking of soccer, what's
Yeah,
the
you want
deal? What's the
yeah?
deal? What's the deal
Our
here?
loons?
Yes, 1 goal in 2 games. Come on, last
AJ,
year.
our friend, was at the game on Saturday night. Said it wasn't that cold. I said, I don't care. It
It
sounds
was
like it was
15. AJ, it was cold. It was 15. You're lying. Wasn't it
but he was
15?
outside watching that thing. Why are we playing in March is my question.
I don't know. The wind was howling too. Where I was, the wind was howling. I
Can you
don't
imagine
know.
if the kicks had started in March?
Yes, they would have had no. They would have had people drunk, passed out, dying of hypothermia. They'd find them 2, 3 days later underneath a car out there someplace. We'd
Below a
have
camper?
dead people. But here's the deal. I was saying this earlier. I went to their opener last year. That was my last game. But we were pressing forward. The whole thing was the new aggressive style that the
Yep.
Khalid, whatever his name is, the new boss wanted them to play. The new coach wasn't there yet, but the other coach was,
Yep.
and they were pressing forward. Now they're trying to win with 1 goal. What happened? What happened to our aggressive style? I don't get it. I don't. I'll have to ask Marthaler
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's the
Yeah.
man. He's the man.
He's doing more work for the Star
Oh
Tribune
God.
than some of the
Yes.
full timers of the Star
Oh my
Tribune.
God. Yes.
I hope he's clearing about 150K right now with all the work he's
I
doing.
don't know what he's doing.
Put an addition
I
on his
talked.
house.
I talked to him the other day. I said, "You got to take a cold shower before these games and relax a little bit."
The
You
guy to
know.
talk to is your emergency contact, Jonathan Harrison.
Oh God, yes.
He's the soccer guy.
I heard Jonathan's post game when I got in the car at the Gophers after they lost the opener 1-0, and apparently the team we lost, that was Los Angeles, one of the Los Angeleses,
Yes, it
right?
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jonathan was, you could tell he was a little disappointed. But Jonathan's problem is, I don't know how many minutes we give him after the post game, but he had about 3 minutes left, and he was throwing a lot of information at us in about 3 minutes. My head was swimming because he wanted to get all this stuff in before we left the air. But they are still a proud team on 1500 AM. I might call my emergency contact and ask him what the hell's
What
going on.
happened?
How come we aren't pressing the action? Come
We
on,
need a
let's go.
columnist in this town who can
Yes.
rip them properly.
Well, UNLV supposedly covered the Kansas City team, right?
Yeah.
before he came up here,
Lavelle. Yeah,
before
I
he
sure
became a
did.
baseball guy.
Yeah.
Early on, he's supposed to be a soccer guy. Why didn't he get out there? Come on,
I saw him at the Wild game on Sunday.
put on a coat, get out there with the fans. Come on, let's go.
I
But I
just
mean,
can't believe we're starting in March.
I can't either. It's incredible. It's incredible. But the idea that there being discussions about playing the December to what September schedule. The other Judd, they start in February, they end in December. What are they doing? I mean, and then when they brought it, they ended in the league ended in December 7th last year. They
Mm-hmm.
brought him back in mid-January for training. Well, give him a break, for God's sakes. It's not a year-round sport. Let's give him, let's give him some time off. I
But
don't
then we've
get.
got all these tournaments, right? These the
Oh yeah,
friendlies and then the
yes,
CONCACAF and all
yeah.
that
They got
stuff.
the Concacaf's got about three different ones, and then we're playing. Then we were playing these series with some Mexican teams. We
That's
were
right.
having, yeah, with the Mexican, just teams, random teams.
Yep.
And why? I don't know. What do we care? I mean, this Donald Trump's president. We don't care about Mexico anymore. Let's stop playing them.
And then we got these teams that are these games that we play where guys leave like so
Yes,
the Loons for a 2 week period will lose like 5 top players.
yes.
They'll lose 3 games and they won't question why they allowed their players to go play elsewhere.
I was talking to Durkee, and he said, we've never denied a player the opportunity to go play for his country, even in an exhibition. I said, well, why don't you try it? You might like it.
That's where we come in. We should
Yes,
run this thing. Hard
yes,
line.
right. No,
Sign the
no, you
contract. You
sign the
are
contract. You play today against
Yep.
Montreal. You're not going to Finland to play
Yep.
yeah,
For free.
Belarus in an exhibition game. For God's sakes, I don't know. It's very confusing. It was so simple when the Kicks played.
I
You
know.
had a league. You played in the summer. Whoever. You had shootouts for another thing. We had shootouts. It was perfect. The Kicks.
So what existed back then in
I
Europe?
don't even know if the Premier League was going then. If they had a Premier League, I think they just had the first
But
division.
guys
I'm
never
not sure.
left for their country,
No,
right? Unless it was the
no.
World Cup, maybe.
Well, all we had was Englishmen and ace. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, I was gonna say
they
they. Yeah,
they
you're right.
probably weren't good. They were great here, but they probably weren't good enough to play for
Right.
me. So
Right.
I don't know.
Tino would be
But
good. You should call him up and get a column. What the
yes,
hell has happened?
yeah, Tino, what's going on? That's
Why why can't you keep your team together for a season and why can't we get your season cut down?
I see Tino every year at the state fair. That's when I see Tino.
Oh
It's
yeah.
at the Tino's stand over there. The restaurant, his restaurant out on 7 he sold that. So the only place you can eat Tino's fine chow now is at the state fair, I believe. And maybe it's frozen too. I'm not sure. But Tino, what a great guy.
Oh, fantastic
And
guy.
hmm and so let's see what. Oh, high school hockey tournament. You going to get over there at all?
I think so. I think I'm gonna go Thursday night or Friday or both.
Mm-hmm.
Double A only.
Okay, you're still not much into A.
It's okay.
What do
I
they
prefer to
draw?
watch
What are
the
they?
double A.
6, 7, 8,000 for A usually. They
I don't know now. I think
full house, a little better
it
maybe.
might be better than that. Yeah, it might be.
Mhm.
It might be. Here's my question: why are the section finals now? So up until the pandemic, I want to say that there were at least 3 or 4 of them played in Mariucci.
Yes.
They're no longer played there.
No.
Edina and Wyzetta was in Ritter, which is a great building, but it's
Two
small.
thousand seats.
Yeah, and then we're playing a bunch still or some at Braemar and Aldrich. Why are we in such small
I
buildings in
don't know.
2025? This used to be at the Met Center.
I know it was.
What are we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. I mean, Edina versus Minnetonka or some of those teams that fill up Met Center for
It
the
would.
section finals, and I don't think it's lack of interest. I think it's just I don't know what it is, but I saw the same thing. I couldn't believe they played at
But
Ritter. Well, you might as well
Mariucci's
play it.
perfect.
You might as well play at Braemar if you're going to play at Ritter, for goodness sakes, right?
Yeah.
So what if it's Edina's home arena. Who cares? You're still going to let half the crowd's going to
But
be
Braymar's
from the
too
other team.
small.
Yes, it is. It is. I don't
Mariucci
know.
is a perfect building for it.
Yes, and notify the Big Ten when they're making up their schedule that you don't want to be home that week. You want
Yeah.
to be on the road that week. It's very simple, right? Yeah,
Yes.
it's not when you got a 7-team league. It's not exactly tough to come up with a schedule, right?
No, and the section finals now ordinarily are concluded by Friday night because it used
Mhm.
to be a Friday Saturday thing, and then the state tournament back in the old days would start on Thursday. But now that they ordinarily play like section finals Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yes.
So the only Gopher conflict would be on Friday
Mhm.
if there was
I
one.
I was rooting for Minneapolis, but Orono beat them 4-3. Minneapolis did go 2 years ago, right? Joe Dietzick coaching that team,
I think that's right.
and now next year we're going to have St. Paul. Although I believe we're going to call it Highland Park, right?
Yeah,
They're not going to just call it St. Paul. But
it's gonna be Highland Park. Yeah.
Como, I think, went a couple of years ago, right, and merged in with Highland Park, and now Johnson. I mean, Such very upset about Johnson not having hockey. I did a piece. I was thinking it was 5 or 6 years ago, but it was 10,
Wow.
where they had a good team and they played in the Winter Classic down at Holman Field. They had it at Holman Field. And they had a good team. And they played. They still had they were short of play. Had like 30 kids in the program, top to bottom. But I don't know. It's I know there's a lot of people saying, well, it's immigration and everything. Well, you didn't have to leave those houses. You didn't have to sell those houses. All you people who sold your house in the east side and went out in the
It's moved.
boonies,
Yeah, that's exactly
yeah,
what it
you
is.
you
That's
moved.
what it
You
is.
sold you sold your house. You
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly that. It is people are moving.
Yes. Yeah, they're moved
I mean,
further and
Richfield.
further and further. Yeah, Richfield is.
You know.
And one thing about Richfield is they had, my stepson owned one of those houses. The Richfield houses, they're, great families grew up in those Richfield houses with 4 kids and one bathroom and,
That's like my house here.
two levels. And yeah, I mean, they're,
I think they
you
raised
know,
3 or 4 boys here in this house with one bathroom,
yep.
and they must have slept them in the basement. So yeah, no, you're exactly right.
Johnny Kunla, coach of the Minneapolis Lakers. Sid and Max Winter were so cheap. And, he won 6 titles. Johnny, his family had one of those little houses in Robbinsdale,
Oh yeah.
five kids, 3 sons, 2 daughters, and then a mother in law. And they all slept upstairs in 2 bedrooms and they had one bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mom and dad slept downstairs and they had a small bathroom down there too. But that's the way people lived,
Oh
and
yeah.
nobody thought anything of it.
Now you have one kid in a house this size, and you move. And I'm not
Yeah,
joking.
yeah. I gotta get somewhere. You can't.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It is. But everybody moved. And so that the people who came in and were able to buy those houses. If you wanted to, if
Yeah.
you cared that much about East Side hockey, stay where you were and raise your kids there. But they didn't do that. So
Yep. Yep. And the Kennedy thing is sad, but it's the same thing. And
yeah,
the thing that doesn't get talked about enough is I don't think Jefferson's that big now.
no,
So
it's
like
not.
so like from a hockey standpoint, Kennedy was pretty much dead, but Jefferson probably needs the extra kids from Kennedy.
So I went to Stevens Point, Wisconsin on Saturday. I went over to see McCarville's basketball team. Drove over in the morning, early in the morning, hung out with her all day, drove home. But they have 2,000 students in this high school, the 4th grade, almost 2,000. It's one of the biggest high schools. They have 21 girls out for basketball in from 9th grade to the 12th grade. They got about few more of that for volleyball. But a lot of the youth of America don't give a damn about sports anymore. There's
Yeah.
just other things to do. They just don't. And I was
Yeah.
asking I was
Right.
asking the AD there, what's going on? He said, they got other things. They got TikTok. He said,
Well,
they don't have,
and sports across the board, I don't think are as much fun.
yeah,
Like with
could be.
specialization and more pressure and stuff.
Well,
Like it
that's
used to just be fun.
well, that's the other thing. They only have like one or two of those 21 girls also play volleyball. I mean, everybody used to, the tall girl played volleyball and then played basketball, right?
Right.
Now if you're any good at volleyball, they keep you so damn busy that,
Right. That's the thing.
it's yeah, it is, but it was amazing. But I got to see McCarville.
Hmm.
Very calm, even though her team, they ended up winning, but they were having a big collapse at the end of the first half. They fell behind 37-23, but they had one segment where they got 4 rebounds. They took 5 shots from 3 feet and missed them all.
Oh
I
no.
said, I said to her, "You stayed a lot calmer than I did when they were missing those 5 2-footers in 12 seconds." She said, "I'm not going to go in the locker room and tell them how lousy they were playing. I'm going to tell them we're going to go out and play better." I said, "Well, you're better than me," because I'd say, "What the hell's wrong with you?
And that's
Make
why you're
those
not a
two
coach.
footers. You're 2 feet away from the basket. Bounce it off the backboard and put it in the basket. What the hell's wrong with you?" I would not be a good coach. That's for sure. Of
No, your
any
patience
sport.
might be tried a little bit too
No,
much.
no,
The parents might not
no.
be happy with you.
No, it was anyway. It was. I'm going to write something for next Sunday on her. She's a character, man. She still is. She still is a character, and that team is one of the most fun we've ever had in Minnesota. The
Oh God, that
2000,
was great.
2004 Gophers,
Just
because
out
they
of
were
nowhere.
all. And I was thinking we were all personalities, and after the game, you'd go down and round them up and wrestle them up and talk to them outside the locker room and say, "Hey, go in and get Janelle." And now you get a coach and 2 players sitting there not saying a thing. It's our job is our job compared to what it was sucks. It's the access is just
We've been
awful.
minimized to next to nothing. That's the
Yeah,
yeah.
I probably shouldn't say this, but Suad drove over to Miami to do a piece on that Unrivaled. Got about 10 minutes of access. They treated it like it was a big deal. You know,
I
hey,
read the column. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he ended up talking to the woman who's kind of like running it for Nafisa, the
Yeah.
work there, and that's where he got most of his stuff. But apparently, he got Nafisa for like 5 minutes, and somebody kept saying, "Last question." What? I don't get it. I don't get it. But that's yeah, Anyway, that's society as we know it, and that you experience all these time with the Wild. I mean, they bring everybody out, but about 6 questions, boom, they're gone.
Well,
In the
and they're
locker
not,
room.
and with them, they bring them out into the main locker room, but the rest of them are in, like you can't go in and talk to a player.
No, no, you can't
It's
talk to
here's 4 guys and then Hines, but
Yeah,
everything now is so orchestrated. There's no
yeah,
the spontaneity of the post game in most sports is now totally lost.
yes, yes, it is, and that's fine with TV because they're getting Amanda's 8-minute interview while the game's going on, and getting no answers that are meaningful. But
Right.
anyway, that's our complaint for the day. So what the hell? Hey, I want to sell you a car though,
Go
right?
ahead.
Jim Paul and Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers. Right now, the stock is tremendous for SUVs. They got 3 or 4 varieties of them, from the smaller ones to the larger ones, and the Encore and the Envision, perfect for the young kid who's turning 16. The family says, "Okay, I don't want to have that kid using my car all the time. Go get yourself an SUV for the kid, maybe the small one, the smaller one of the SUVs. They can get the hockey equipment in the back. Perfect. Right now, high volume of stock. Interest rates are low or non-existent. Some of them have zero interest rates, and also factory rebates are back. So, and plus Sierra heavy duty trucks, they have many of those too. You could go to the
Mhm.
website, look it out. Valley Group of GM dealers, Jim Paul and Brett Paul, my guys in Apple Valley, and also a store in Hastings.
Outstanding. So we'll
All
talk to you
right.
tomorrow, or you got
Okay.
anything else?
No, I'm fine. We do Wednesday though, right now.
Oh, that's right.
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
Thursday,
Wednesday. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. Yeah.
Wednesday, Friday.
Wednesday and Friday. We'll talk to you on
Last
Wednesday
week
then.
I was harassing people about, are you going to call me? And they said, we don't do it on Tuesday anymore. I said,
Okay.
okay, okay, fine, fine. What else? Anything else on my mind? I guess not. You going to the Wolfies Tuesday night?
No. I'm gonna skip a game against the Sixers in which the Sixers will have no one of interest playing.
Well, this would be a hard one to lose. How about that? Embiid, and they bring in Paul George, and they're going to win the title.
They're getting what
And
they deserve.
now they shut him down. And
They're getting what they deserve. Paul
Embi-
George.
looking
Come
back and
on.
seeing that Embiid was the MVP makes me vomit because that's there had to the Joker should have won it that year too, right?
Back to
So
back, you got the Sixers, and then you go to Charlotte on Wednesday.
yes,
That should be
yes.
two W's.
Yes, yes. And what do they have? 6 games in 9 days or 10 days or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
So
but they're every one of them, if I'm not mistaken, is a winnable game. So
that was a nice win last night with getting 44 from the mercurial ant.
yes,
He's one of the most interesting cats we've had in this town. That's
he
for
is
sure.
indeed. All right, we'll talk to you on Wednesday, Patrick.
Okay, see you.
See ya.